You're listening to Hayes Radio Network, Cannabis Lifestyle Radio.
What's good, everybody? Happy New Year's and welcome back to another episode of Terp Talk. I am your hostess with the mostest, Sarah Tokes, a.k.a. the Terp Queen. This week, we have a very special guest. We have Jimi Devine.
What's up? How is everyone? Hope all is well.
Right? All is well as it will be while the world is literally crashing down before us.
Watching the Senate. Yeah, it's like we're trying to talk about the MORE Act. It's like, I don't know when the Senate's going to open back up, dog. Like, they got to get that podium back.
You saw someone run away with the podium. Did you see the video of somebody in Nancy Pelosi's office kicking their feet up?
Had his feet up. Yeah, they had there was another one of the Viking guy. He had like a buffalo head. He had like a buffalo head.
Him.
He was crazy. He was crazy. And then the best was this one lady, just like random like winter jacket, looking all crazy by herself in the Senate, and the guy just up in the gallery above her texting, like, is like, look at this shit. Like,
and I'm like that whole time.
And where's the tear? I'm from Oakland, baby. Okay, if this shit were happening I was just saying, if this shit were happening in Oakland, they would have dropped nukes already. Like,
exactly.
These fools haven't even gotten tear gas. This whole rally is a tale of white privilege and lack of tear gas.
Thank you. I love you so much for saying that, because when all the BLM protests were happening that they called riots, they were shooting us with rubber bullets, doing the tear gas, doing the most just to get us off the streets. Yeah. They arrested my homegirl just for standing in front of her fucking apartment. Meanwhile, people are breaking windows in the Senate, but they just get a slap on the wrist.
Oh, man. Someone got it, but it's not, some people are dead now, it sounds like, so. Sucks. It sucks. It was someone got shot. It sucks that it was allowed to get this far and all that shit. And it's super important, like, and this isn't weed shit, but it's super important for us as like participants into the democracy. Like, remember the people whose fault this is, because there's going to be a lot of people going to try and fucking jump on the other side of the line real quick in the next few days. Remember who are the people that empowered this atmosphere that we lived in, that allowed it to get this bad, that empowered these ideas, these theories that are literally are based around the idea. A lot of the time, a lot of this debate right now around the election is based around the idea: do black people's votes count or not? Like in these swing states, in these urban areas of swing states, like trying to like discredit whole communities. So it's madness. It's madness. So just remember who's responsible for this stuff, and But then also, we took the Senate last night, baby. It's a whole. We're living. Yes. We woke up in a broken America, but this day, like. This day will be remembered separately for what it means for weed, like the world that we woke up to, and for what happened on Capitol Hill today, like as separate, both important events. And it's going to be super cool. It's going to be super cool to see, just because obviously one of the things I obviously believe is the Democrats aren't going to be able, now that they have the Senate, pending the certification of the Georgia runoff Senate election, which sounds like it's going to go good. They now have control of the Senate. All this cool stuff we talked about over the last few years that would make it through the House and then die at the hands of Mitch McConnell. All that stuff is in play now. So I feel like they're not going to be, there's definitely some nation fixing to do in the next few months, and I don't think they're going to get to it first.
No,
but
not at all.
I think it's on deck, though. It's on deck. It's in the batting lineup, and that's super important. So it's just what a day, what an exciting time. Like it's like people are thinking to themselves, like they woke up and asking themselves, like, as opposed to like the tangibles of like, will it happen? It's like, man, I wonder when I'm going to get a bank account. Well, I wonder how long I have to wait now to ship weed over state lines, because that's a totally different answer than it was 24 hours. Like the whole game.
Hold up, the MORE Act passed?
No, I'm saying it's going to now. Like she's the deciding vote. The Senate's 50-50.
Yeah.
If it's 50-50, they're like, hey, Vice President, you have to decide. It's her bill. She's not going to vote against it.
How do you feel about the MORE Act? I know everybody.
I think some people are. I'm a man of incremental progress. Yeah. I've been doing this shit for 15 years.
Yep.
Baby steps in the right direction. That's what I'm saying. I started with medical. I went on to decrim. Like I've seen, like it's piece by piece by piece. The idea that the MORE Act isn't one of the biggest, broadest pieces that we've ever brought to the puzzle and thrown down at once is madness. People are on a quest for perfection. Sometimes, and yes, certain. One thing right now is in the version of the MORE Act that got passed. The felony language is unexistent. It defeats the whole purpose of the bill.
Yeah.
But now that the bill that can be adjusted in conference, people don't understand. Like this language, this shit gets changed all the time. Like it's not done until it comes out of conference committee and goes to the president. So a lot of stuff can happen between that. Bills change all the time in conference committee. Like we always talk about this vote, that vote. Well, when those two bills come together between the House and the Senate in any bill, whether it's weed or not, that's when the real murky shit starts to happen.
Yeah, right.
Everything's up on C-SPAN until that point. then some homies get in the conference room and they're like, how are we going to make this work? I guarantee you that felony language ain't making it out of that conference room. That's my take on it. And I get people are bummed that it's there and it shouldn't have been in there in the first place. And it was and it was horrible. It got there, but I get why the advocates, the normals, and the Rep Blumenauers and the Rep Barbara Lees, like why those people are like, whatever you guys say, like that ain't gonna make the final cut. Sure, throw whatever you want on there, Billy. Chop that out. But a lot of people didn't take it like that. A lot of people were like, well, now, even if this passes, all these communities that have been hit hardest by the war on drugs aren't even going to benefit. And I get that, and I get the take. I'm just saying, it's not done until it crosses the finish line, and it's so far from the finish line. We don't even know when the race is going to start back up now.
I know. I'm like, shit. I hope so too. Can you imagine just like being able to just? I'm a cannabis sales rep, so I work with a few different companies, and one of my companies is a multi-state operator. So just thinking about the possibility that, hey, let's just go over to Washington and go sell our shit, or like.
Well, that's why so many people bet all their chips on California. A lot of people think this is it. Like, why are you going to grow weed? Why are you going to grow weed anywhere else once you don't have to? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A giant chunk of domestic cannabis production is going to be on the west side of the Sierras. For sure.
Yeah.
So that's real. So there's a lot of people that just put all their chips in California and just waiting, just staying afloat. They don't even care if they don't blow up right now. You know what I'm saying? They don't, wow, you don't have shelf space, whatever. I'm just trying to stay alive because that dude in Cleveland's gonna have shelf space. So my OG ain't good enough for LA. My OG ain't good enough for Oakland. Shit, my OG's good enough for Cleveland, baby. And I'm just waiting. There's 100 of those people.
Everyone's going to be pushing their mids like over state lines and shit.
Yeah.
Like these are Cali exotics. And...
Yeah. They're going to they're going to find out in New York what depths really are. And they're going to be like, what? This isn't out. What? No. Nobody told. No, I think you're mistaken, sir. This is indoor.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, I feel attacked. I've picked up so much like Reggie in New York. And they're always like, this, that top shelf shit, this, the Cali shit. And I'm just like, this is
that OG that smelled like Chem?
Yeah, I'm like,
great.
This is not Cali shit.
I love Chem Dog. Great guy. Like, I love the genetics, like one of the most important sativas of the last 10 years. But I don't want my OG Kush. I don't want my OG Kush to smell like it.
Exactly. Right? Like, I want my OG Kush to smell like an OG Kush. I want like the fucking the pinene, the humulene, the like kick in the nose.
Some, like maybe sometimes there's little spots where certain fuel notes will cross over like they do in so many strains. But generally, I want my Chem to smell like Chem, and I want my OG to smell like OG. That's just the way I live.
That's a whole move.
But so as soon as America's fixed, we'll be able to progress this conversation around, everything. The MORE Act is just this building block, like that allows so many other things to move forward. Just like that research bill that just passed last week. We kind of got lost in the holidays and the election madness, but the research bill that just made it through Congress, like that stuff, like these little building blocks now are so key. And having the Democrats in charge of the Senate be able to actually bring these things up, like it's fascinating to me. Like one of the things I was speculating in my head was like, would the Democrats push the MORE Act or the Safe Banking Act first? safe banking, one might say, is a more bipartisan issue, more of a softball. But it's like, so is the MORE Act. Like, it's a very weed as a whole is a very bipartisan issue. Is it easier to pass safe banking? Maybe, but it sounds like they're going for the whole shit. So I'm down. I'm about it. I'm excited. I've been following this. I remember like following Hinchy Robacker back in like 2008. Like, all right, we're gonna try and make it so the DEA can't spend money raiding legal dispensaries. Like, and now we're talking about things like interstate commerce and rescheduling, getting it to the point where people can have a real bank account. Like, so people think like when they hear about the MORE Act and stuff like that, it's just like, oh, this is just a boon for corporate cannabis. It's gonna make the wave's gonna come. People use corporate cannabis is such a dirty word, but it's like, how many mom and pops on the hill had to open up had to start a corporation to exist in this game in the way it works right now. So it's fascinating as everything evolves and.
Yeah, I mean, when people talk about corporate cannabis, because I'm one of those people that's like, I do not want to work with a fucking Chad. I don't want to work with one of those big companies. When we say corporate,
you don't want to be weed to Cincinnati, Jimmy.
No, fuck that. But like, a lot of the corporate people, they're from the ice cream industry trying to get into the cannabis industry to monetize off of it because everyone loves ice cream and everyone loves weed. So that's why we're in the weed industry. So they're pushing mids. So when people are like, fuck corporate, in my head, personally, I'm like, fuck those people. I understand at the end of the day, like, you need to have an LLC corporation to become like a real brand and brand yourself.
Yeah, but that's super easy.
Like, when we say fuck corporations, we mean fuck those big people that are trying to come in and just monetize off of our culture. Because at the end of the day, like, the biggest part about California culture, no matter where you're at, you're in Oakland, I'm in LA, big part of our culture is cannabis. Mm-hmm. It really is. And people don't really understand that. So they just want to hop in and just monetize because that's the thing to do right now. And they're not in it for the right reasons.
Yeah, it's fascinating just to see the type, because then it's not to hate, because there's a lot of people that just didn't have the opportunity. Like as this industry opened up, they saw it as something they always wanted to do all their life, and now they love to smoke weed and they get to go make a living doing what they love, and that's beautiful, and I love that. Yeah. But there's a lot of people that aren't that.
Exactly. They come in and they're like, hold on, we can white label everything. Yeah. We don't have to have a grower. We don't need to have extractors. We could just white label. Then they white label.
It's
boof,
crazy.
Boof.
It's like my Heritage white label. I got an email yesterday. My LA based Heritage white label pre-roll brand. I'm like, Jesus. People like the language is getting spectacular. No. Like, it's fun now because and now it's been a couple years and like I'm a bit more on people's radar. I I don't get as many like shady people because they just don't want to put themselves in front of me and have to like be accountable. Like, who grew this? Like, how'd you do that? Like, you guys don't know how to fucking cure, do you? Like shit like that. You know what I mean? So like, it's like if you know your weed isn't up to par, like why put it in a situation where I'm going to talk about it?
Exactly.
So, like, but there's those people that like just like are kind of random PR, like just in the same sense of random biz folk, random PR folk that came from another part of PR. And they're like, oh, Jimmy Devine, like, hey, like, let me send you this pack of pre-rolls. It's spectacular.
Did you try the monogram?
I tried. It's like, because it's 2 grams a jar.
Okay.
So I smoked like a blunt. I've smoked a standard size blunt for me, which is like a little bit over a gram, like if I'm facing it and just working.
Yeah.
So I like smoked I faced the blunt of monogram, and then I stretched it with the second one I stretched with a little jet fuel gelato, just to be completely honest. I didn't have enough monogram. I didn't have enough monogram left after the first one to smoke another monogram completely. But yeah, it was cool. My lady, she tried the pre-rolls, and the thing was, it's like as I said, I did a review, blah blah blah, but it's like it's better than standard white label weed. Like, and the actual pre-roll itself, like the hand rolled one, is one of the most like aesthetically pleasing pre-rolls I've seen on the legal. It's the most like joint looking joint I've ever seen on the legal market for sure. Yeah. But then you get to those like value questions, like, is this aesthetically pleasing pre-roll worth $50? Blah blah blah, and that's up for others to decide. I found it was better. I thought the weed inside was okay because it's a Khalifa collab that they're doing, and I think the other Khalifa stuff. I like the Z cubes. People say this is an off pheno of the Z cube, like. Khalifa keeps the good Z cube for like the Khalifa, and then I dig the Alien OG and the Z cube. Allegedly, this is on that similar level, but it was it didn't. I like some of Khalifa's other stuff better. Yeah, it wasn't like horrible. I can understand why people would have some pricing concerns especially when you look at other celebrities doing it, like who definitely have like actual exotics. Like you look at the stuff Rick Ross is working with Cookies, fire. You look at Carlos Santana is selling fucking quarters of like decent weed for the same price that these guys are selling eighths of,
The Santana weed came out. See, in NorCal, you guys get all the good shit.
We get it all first.
You guys get all the good shit. In SoCal, we get like all this nickel.
They launched up here. It sucks though, because like but the thing about it is now certain NorCal brands are starting to get like all of their product absorbed by LA. So these like NorCal brands that were like big up here, it's like they just pump it into LA just to build, because everyone's trying to build their brand as much as possible before whatever happens. You know what I mean? There's a lot more value in being on an LA shelf than random town in between Oakland and Sacramento. So it is what it is.
Even though
there's some fire in Vallejo, though. I ain't hating.
That's why I'm saying like Vallejo, Modesto pushes numbers. PCF. I don't know if you've ever gone to PCF in Modesto. Vallejo. Yeah, out there, they push more numbers than they do in SoCal. So that's why I don't understand why all these brands want to come to SoCal, because, like, you're going to be sitting on our shelves for a good 2 to 3 months, and up there.
It depends on the company. Some of this stuff moves. Like, I've been in the dispensary space for a decade, and it's like the heaters heat. Like, they go. Like, if people are really excited on stuff, like those big drops, like
when it's a big drops, like the Alien Lab Sherbinsky's big,
or
stuff
even
like that.
Stuff, but even brands, stuff with a following that like just doesn't like get the same levels of hype, but just like that's exactly what people want to smoke. Like the IC collectives, the gold seals, like there's a bunch of.
I haven't seen IC in so long.
Yeah, they're fire.
Like, they're stupid fire. I got to try them at Hall of Flowers. When Hall of Flowers was a thing. Their flowers done fire.
I was the first person to get an ounce at Hall of Flowers. You were only able to get an ounce. You were only able to get an ounce.
I was so heated. I was so mad.
I was the first person to get an ounce, and I walk up with all my tickets, and I'm just standing there. It's like empty. It's like they're just opening up. I'm like, what? Like, what are you doing? And like, what booths did you go to? I was like, I don't know. Everyone just wanted to give me eights. I don't know. So I loaded up on my ounce, and I sent somebody back the next day because I had to work the next day. So I sent somebody back with the tickets. Like, all right, get some of those. You keep a couple of them. Just load up.
Give me the rest.
Yeah, just in case people don't want to give you free weed. Right. Yeah, take these. You can get the rest of mine.
That's such an experience.
I miss weed events so much. Oh,
me
God.
too. There's actually a weed event in Oakland on the 24th, the House 420.
Yeah, that's not compliant.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's definitely.
I'm like, well, thanks for telling me. I'm already booked to go. See you soon.
Trap Life Wednesdays.
Yep.
What's
good? But it's crazy because it's actually a lot of compliant brands are going because of distribution companies throwing it, and they have an event license.
Oh, it's like that. Okay, maybe it's some like weird distro. I'm sorry. I thought it was like because there's like random sessions in Oakland still, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? So I thought you were talking about one of those. That sounds like that sounds like a B2B thing. That sounds a little bit more credible. I'm sorry.
No, you good. I still hit the sessions in LA every once in a while. They're a thing.
Oh man, that was the worst part of 2000. Like, man, when the sessions got hit in like January 1st, 2018, that was the thing I was the most really, really sketched out about.
Yeah.
Like after I went and I watched the first weed sale and all that, and wrote my article and everything was done for the day. Like late afternoon, January 21st, I was like, January 1st, 2018, I was like, man, when's the next time I'm going to go to a sesh? Fucking here I am. Still wondering. God.
Right? It was the worst because down here we had secret sesh pretty much every Sunday, you know? And then
yeah, they went pretty hard.
They went too hard. And now they had to go the compliant route, and it's just not the same.
No, it's never too hard. It's just the game catches up with you.
Yeah, and like Tim, I went to high school with Tim, so like I went to the first secret session. It was like literally in the middle of nowhere in just the San Fernando Valley. Yeah, with fucking 60 people. There was no one there.
That's how
and
it
a
is,
bunch
dog.
of like random weed vendors.
That's why it was fun to get in on sessions early and see these like development at these events into this like ridiculous shit from like some 4x8 tables in a rectangle to like what things became. God, that was.
And it's funny because now, like, some of the brands that I used to see at the sesh are now compliant. So now you see them on the shelves, and I'm just like, damn, I remember when I can get your shit for $25 a gram.
I know that shit
for $100. Like,
I know that shit wouldn't have passed testing, motherfucker.
I'm like, that shit.
It's all good.
I'm like, they probably paid for the testing to be fucking passed. You know, that's what
I smoked a ton of shit I could say that about. So
exactly.
Who knows? I'm never gonna be able to get those earwax stabs from 2010 back.
Oh, so my God.
We might as well laugh about it.
All the fucking tained soup that I've dabbed in the past like decade, and just if there's one thing I could tell younger me, it's just pass on that dab.
Your dab shouldn't have that fuel smell from sour diesel. It's not like, I didn't know at first. It was like 2010. I was like, wow, it kind of makes my eyes water like sour diesel. Like, I didn't know.
And it's just like, in reality, it's just all the fucking butane just slowly deteriorating your brain cells. Like, no, that's not the vibe. And then when rosin first got mainstream,
rosin, man. First it was frozen, and then it was rosin.
Everyone was like, Sarah, let me see your hair straightener. We can make wax. And I look at people like, the fuck are you talking about? And my homies would literally like get the parchment paper, get a nug, then squish it and be like, this is rosin. And I'm just like, y'all are dumb.
Frozen was like garlic cookies.
Yeah.
You had to change the name of that shit. You know, boom, GMO? Oh, wow, GMO. That's cool.
I feel attacked because I love GMO.
I love GMO. Shit dumps. That's why a bunch of the best hash companies in the world works with GMO cuts, because you can make good hash and people make a bunch of money.
Yeah.
We get high. It's not as reasonable price. Like I had this, oh God, like there was this one I had last year. It was like a blending of like 70% GMO rosin with like a layer of like papaya rosin like on top of it.
Oh my gosh.
Shit, it was crazy. I was all about it.
Yeah, I recently had a GMO cross with like papaya cake, and that shit was straight gas.
Oh my God, papaya! I had some papaya OG from Vesuvio Gardens. One of the Vesuvios runs a bunch of heat. They run a bunch of Ways East. They run a bunch of caps cuts, but they had a papaya OG. They brought me like a few jar, like 8 things to check out.
Yeah.
And the first empty jar was the papaya OG. It was just it was like, that's how I know.
Yeah.
Like, I just kind of look back. It's like, all right, what jar was empty first? Because I try and do my best to like spread the love. Like, I told them I'd try this, and like try and like, check out that shit that I tell people I'm going to check out. But sometimes, you get that heater, and it's just like, oh, let me do a little bit more research on that before I cloud my judgment with the next one. Like,
shoot them a text and be like, that wasn't enough research. I need more. Like,
that was the real deal. Thank you.
Shoot more. That's so
crazy. Appreciate you. And it's tough because I'm a freelance journalist. I buy like most of the pot I smoke. I buy.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just.
Oh, really? You don't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
I buy like.
Question, and just like, not trying to fangirl. I've been like such a huge fan of you forever, and like you inspired me to like kind of realize that like you can be a cannabis journalist and even like have a platform. So thank you so much, because I'm sure other listeners and other people in the community feel the same way. But like, how did you realize like, yo, I'm gonna write about weed? How did that come?
Well, it was like I went to school for journalism.
Yeah.
Like before I like was able to like find like the
But there
entry
wasn't
point.
weed journalism. Like that wasn't a
There
career.
was though. Like I met I'm talking like I met the High Times staff for the first time. Like my first High Times party was in 06. I was 20 years old, and I was like, and I knew like weed shit was possible. You know what I mean? Like I just didn't know like the scale of it all. And so I went to that party, and that was kind of the make or breaker for me. It was like it just really like showed me that it was possible to do it. But I never thought that way. I was just because I was doing activism stuff. I was trying to get kids their financial aid back. I was trying to legalize weed and shit. I was still in school. So then I got out here, and I spent a couple of years like I wrapping my head around the industry. I had my degree in journalism. I had done like policy writing about weed, like for like Drug Policy Alliance and like Stop the Drug War, but I'd never done like journalism shit. I got an opportunity to sell ads for David Downs, who's the California director of Leafly now. Okay. Back when he was running San Francisco Chronicles effort, and he had his own. The Hash was his podcast. He was one of the first. He was one of like the really early cannabis podcasters.
Dope.
Yeah. David's
super dope.
For sure. He was like the first person. He was like the first person ever to write about like alien labs. Like, oh, these guys have fire weed.
Yeah.
Like, so like, yeah, so he has a bunch of like cool little feathers in his hat. So I ran into him through my homie. My homie started a staffing company, and like I got introduced to him through that. And then he got me an opportunity with SF Gate, and they kind of just like I sold ads for a little bit to kind of get my foot in the door, and then eventually I got my chance to write, worked out, and then I did the first New West Summit. I was one of like the main assistant producers, basically. Like I did a lot of the event sales, like booths and shit, and was one of like the main troubleshooter on site for people. So after that, I met the Cannabis Now team there, and then eventually got a gig with those guys. I was with Cannabis Now for 4 years until the start of the pandemic, and now so just with LA Weekly now. I met the LA Weekly team. I went down to see Sherbinski speak at Pottery like a couple years back, like 2017 or something. And my homie was there, and he was like, "Oh, yo, you got to meet. This is Brian. He's the publisher of LA Weekly." You know, I'm just like, I'm high off my ass. Like, oh God, I'm probably thinking in the back of my head, yeah, this is probably the last person I want to meet right now.
Exactly.
Like, okay, hey, how are you? Like, you know, like
chat it up.
Yep, flip the switch. I'm ready to go. That's what it's all about. You get those shots, dog.
Yeah.
And it's like you either kick the door open or you fucking wonder what could have been. So I was like ready. Okay, how are you? You know, chat it up. He's like, hey. And but the thing is, like, with all this, like, I've had a lot of random things come up over the years that like didn't work out. So I never like attached myself too much to any idea, or I'd be like, you know, bummed like with all the stuff that doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So I just focused on the positive, put it through in the back of my mind. A couple months later, like, no, I hadn't even thought anything of it. Get the email like, yo, Jimmy, we're ready to go on that cannabis coverage. So I was like, now I've been with LA Weekly for, like over 2 years. Like it'll be 3 in November. So yeah, like I've been on staff since last February. It's crazy. It's crazy. I love it. Just trying to grind, just trying to just tell the fucking truth, dog, and speak fire to the masses, and it works.
No, it really does. Like one thing, like I love your cannabis reviews and just being able to like showcase a lot of these farmers and these brands and just give them a platform.
That's the dopest part. That's the dopest part. They've never had like whatever quasi mainstream art alternative weekly thing that LA Weekly is. It's like cool to give these brands and these farmers and these people that are trying to stay afloat in this like there's a lot of money in weed, but there's a lot of people struggling to like get by because of taxes and all the challenges and hoops it takes just to be in the game. And so it's cool to like give these guys that did all that stuff that they had to do to be taking part in this, like that little bit of recognition, make, something, just that little thing to hang their head on a little bit, I love it. Like,
no, of course. And it's like such a taboo thing too, because like farmers are like, shit, I don't want to burn myself out. Because, like, I get a lot of that receptiveness for my show when I ask certain people, hey, you want to come on? And they're like, I don't want to burn myself out or, like, show my face or do stuff like that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I just try and make it as, like, palatable as possible for the masses. You know what I mean? Like, I want the heads to be able to read it and, like, be like, they feel like they're getting something really productive out of it. But I want, like, that random grandma that, like, picks up LA Weekly, you know, like picks up LA Weekly to think it's, like, interesting enough, like, that she wants to read it too, you know? And so trying to find that line in the sand in the middle is, like, the game. And I guess it in my head, and sometimes it works out.
Do you just, like, choose whatever you write about, or it's just...
I pitch everything, like, to the chief. I have I pitch everything to the team. I don't, like, just like, oh, guys, I'm writing this week. That'd be dope. I get an okay before. Yeah, I gotta go for it, Jimmy, before I start shooting. But I was just saying earlier, I've only had, like, one thing ever that was, like, it wasn't even a weed story. It's like a mushroom story that they're like, yeah, we'll pass on that one, Jim.
Yeah.
But how about that other one? You know, so I love it. It's crazy just to have the platform to technically you're 99.99%, you know, that's, I consider that writing whatever I want. Like,
exactly.
You know,
that's why I'm like, so is it just free game and you're just like, I'm gonna do what I want, y'all just approve it, or I don't know.
Basically, it's crazy. I try and save. I booked things a couple of weeks out now, just to keep the ball rolling, know what I'm going to write about, stuff like that. But sometimes you get, like, you know, the Senate flip last night, stuff like that just pops up. And it's cool to have a platform that, like, to tell those breaking news stories.
Yeah.
And now it's like, now I'm just pumping out so much content these days. Now,
and memes. Your memes, your fucking memes kill me.
I'm trying, dog.
You are killing it with those memes.
It's tough. It was like, because usually I'll post a crazy article with, like, the interview with, like, the congressman in it, and it's like 65 likes, and then I'll make a runts. And I'm like, hey, I'll make a runts meme for kicks, like, in 2 minutes, like, hey, this is funny, and then it's like, you know, 200, and like, oh, god damn it. And I was funny. I went to work the other day, and my general manager just, like, we were sitting down to smoke a blunt, and she just looks at me like, so you're becoming a meme lord? I was so unprepared for it in that moment.
Sour waves, like, watch out.
I was sitting there. No, God, no. I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, why don't the articles work like this? And then like it was like a bell rung for her to make the perfect comment at the perfect time. Like, no. It was great. I love it though. It's super fun. And it's all, you know, it's just, I just try to tell, it's tough because I don't get to break news too much because the guys on the East Coast wake up a few hours before me.
Yeah.
So, you know, the Tom Angels of the world and those guys, they beat me to pretty much every story. But I try and have, like, the best. I try and give it, like, my own spin. Find new and interesting ways to talk about these current events that are happening so often now in cannabis and whatnot, and in between, just, like, take a look at what people are doing. You know? Yeah,
of course. And
sick.
I know you mentioned you wrote something about mushrooms. How is the mushroom game out in Oakland? I know that
it's crazy.
I'm a little curious because I know they legalized it. So what does that mean? Can I go?
I'm trying to, like.
How does it work?
It's like it's decriminalized. It's
okay.
Like decriminalized, those police enforcement, all that, all of the above. There's a couple like trap mushroom collectives now.
What?
Yeah.
What?
It's the times, baby.
Damn, you gotta show me when I come out to Oakland.
It's crazy out here. Oh man. It's going off. And then I've been writing about the ketamine clinics that are starting to open up. There's like this second wave. There's this like huge way, like ketamine therapy is not a new thing.
Yeah,
like
it's
10,000 people in LA have gotten ketamine therapy since like 2014 or something like that.
Yeah,
but it's not popular. Like we just think these things that we like kind of like in this bubble of hype and fun and exciting, not too dangerous drugs. Like we don't realize how they're not normalized yet. So it's fun to like see. Like I was writing about like this wave. This Canadians like are opening this like ketamine therapy clinics across America, stuff like that. Like it's so much stuff going on in psychedelics right now. MAPS is going for I can't even keep track of what MAPS is up to because they have so much research going on. It's awesome. It's the times, man. It's like that's like for a lot of people that's the next thing. Like a lot of people are exiting. A lot of people in cannabis right now, they're kind of like found their spot. They kind of got their companies in cruise control and shit. You know what I mean? Like they're starting to eyeball.
Well, Cookies is coming out with caps. You saw the Cookies
for sure.
cap?
They're doing them with Blue River, I believe. That's cool. I love it. Like and
the shroom caps.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Really? I didn't know that. I just saw their little website about it. I was like tripping. I was like, cookies are. There's gonna be cookies everything. There's gonna be cookies ketamine now. Like,
oh my god!
There will. There's gonna be a cookies ketamine clinic. Sorry, Werner.
I don't want to go that far, but I appreciate your enthusiasm. It's interesting to see. It's interesting to see how much of like the progress on that front. Like, and people don't realize a lot of like weed progress was like pushed by tech people. Because it wasn't the weed industry wasn't paying for itself like to develop like this. The weed industry doesn't give a lot of money to activism. It doesn't give a lot of money to normal. It doesn't. It stays in.
They'll give you free weed though.
It stays in. It's like so all these so a lot of these organizations are bankrolled by people like a lot of these weed organizations were bankrolled by people who found success in other fields of life. And it's interesting to see now like how the big money weed people, like some of them are like were like on the background of the psychedelic scene for years too, like throwing money everywhere. You want to legalize drugs? You want to legalize MDMA? Hey, like, like there wasn't too many of those guys.
Yeah.
But once Bitcoin popped off, there was a few. There was a lot of people that had changed from their acid in 2010. They were like, you know what? Let me play it forward. You know? So like that's the thing. Like that's the thing now. So it's interesting to see how these industries as they develop, they're never actually like, and now they get to that quasi state where they exist in a sense, but like it ends up like those people kind of taking advantage of the circumstances of the business, to be a business, like are never the same people. 85%. And then don't get me wrong, there were a bunch of dispensaries that gave good money to the cause, the Harborsides, the BPGs down in LAPCG, Buds and Roses, like a bunch of those guys gave good money to activism. But those guys are only like 90. Those guys make up like less than a fraction of a percent of cannabis operators in California. Let's be real about it. So it's interesting to see it's interesting to see the same thing happen with psychedelics. Like it's like this, these just successful people that want to change the world, like throwing some money down and to activists who want to do it all over again. And it's fun comparing what I'm seeing now with psychedelics to like what I was seeing in like 2007, 2008, like with like the normalization of like cannabis and stuff. It's super fun. And it's so much faster. It's so much
I'm
people
sure
are so palatable. It's so palatable.
Everyone loves mushrooms and everyone's getting into microdosing, and especially all of the research with like the mental health aspects of it too.
Yeah.
But where do you see that going? I mean, like personally,
giant money? Like
I mean, I feel like one day we're going to be able to go to a dispensary and be able to get mushrooms too, instead of having it be sepaate, You
get like spores now pretty easy.
What?
The over-the-counter, like the actual walk into the dispensary and buy like pre-packaged eighths of like caps and stems, like we're a bit out for sure. I don't think
I just have high hopes. I have really high hopes, Jimmy.
Don't get me wrong. I hear you. I just don't think we have to start quite talking about metric yet. I think I want to focus on the steps. I want to focus on the steps before that because they're there. We're there. Those steps are achievable.
But let's not put mushrooms into metric. Fuck metric.
And it's gonna be and it's like it's all, like I said, all incremental shit. Like this is crazy. Like going from like how much progress was seen between 2007 and 2008, or excuse me, 1997 and 2008. That was like just everything from prop that was everything from Prop 215 to fucking decriminalization in Massachusetts, basically. Like, and then you take everything that's happened. Tell me everything that's happened since 2008. It's a completely different animal. So this atmosphere of hype and like thought, like people are so much more willing to question what they've been sold their whole lives around certain substances, on the ideas of whether they're safe or not, or around the ideas of their efficacy, that it's so fun to see like this revolution, like just watching the revolution happen. Like I was down. Like I was like, I was in high school. Okay, mushrooms seem pretty cool. I've been on the weed. I've been on the weed team for a while. So it's just like seeing it all. Like, oh, it's fantastic how everything kind of, it's like this like spider web of like progress, and it all interconnects. Like everything makes everything move better. And then most importantly, like we haven't even talked about this, like we talked go back to like the MORE Act and stuff like that, all this stuff on the weed front. Like the more gas we put on this regulatory stuff, the more gas you're throwing on getting people out of lockup. Like it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, we just voted to give people bank accounts today. Oh, there's still a lot of people locked up for this shit. We should probably talk about it. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like it just every little step is closer to the most important conversations, even if it's not, and if you're just because your talking points aren't included in this fight, in this battle. Like the war is long and tedious, and it's like just have faith, keep believing, keep supporting. It's super important to support every step forward, because these people get so lost in wanting to give their take and wanting to make like kind of like it's kind of these like personal. There's this personal exceptionalism complex in cannabis that everyone thinks their fucking 2 cents is critical and everything, and it's just like if we can all just come to the table a little bit better, like shit would look so different right now. Like people were bitching recently about the California Cannabis Industry Association doing hemp shit. Like, well, you know what? I bet you if people on the Hill had just got together and did that shit themselves, the California Cannabis Industry Association would look a lot different. But to that sense, it sucks for those brands that were trying to play it forward, do the right thing, create an industry trade group, getting pulled into all the madness, blah blah blah. It's like there's this weird like people are bitching but not willing to roll their sleeves up sometimes thing, like that bums me out. But generally speaking, progress is progress.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that did come out of 64 that is good is that we do have compassion cannabis back, you know?
Yeah, well that was SB I think
that was SB 34 that came last year.
The Scott Wiener bill. Shout out Senator Wiener. He's awesome. I'm a fan.
You shout out the senators.
I was laughing. It was fun because it was funny. It was a funny Scott Wiener story. He posted like a picture because they have he's a San Francisco senator. Yeah. And they have like the Folsom Streets Fair in San Francisco, and all like the jacked gay dudes walk around topless. And so it's just like he posted this picture on his Facebook, like with these two jacked guys, like just out here with the boys at Folsom Street.
What?
Like that's our weed champion. And he is jacked.
That's our wiener. You go.
Senator Wiener is a healthy guy. It looks like he's going to be able to keep this fight up for years.
I hope so. Oh my god!
But it looks like he won't have to. It looks like we won't have to. Like now we got who knows? Like it's so crazy. Like I can't. You know, I'm not doing a good enough job articulating what today means and what waking up to a world where Mitch McConnell isn't the head of the U.S. Senate means to the cannabis industry. I know I'm not. I'm just not. Please, like I know I'm trying to say. I've probably said it a couple times. I'm not doing it justice. Like today is nuts. Like if it weren't like this, maybe watching the doors of the Senate get kicked in kind of is like taken away from the way.
Watching those windows get busted in and people
for sure.
I'm still watching it, like out of the corner of my eye. I can't. I need all the tea, you know.
It's nuts. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go back and check. I'm gonna go look at all the tweets that I missed while we were talking. That's what I did earlier. I did the podcast. I was like, all right, peace. And I just went on Twitter, like going through the picture, like what? This is so. Oh man, what a time!
Right? What a time. Here, We'll get ready to wrap up, then I'll let you get back to
rush. I was just making a joke.
I'm like, you sure? We have like 10, 15 minutes left, I think. I don't even know what time
we're good. We're good. Like, I was just, I'm just excited. The times, man, the times. It's so fun to have days like today where you just wonder, like, because you don't know, but you know it's not going to suck, and you know it's not like it's like how not suck is it going to be? Ooh, like
exactly. And it's like with 2020 being such a shit show, 2021, honestly, everybody can have their own view. I've been just on my positivity and just manifesting for what can come from the cannabis industry or for the cannabis industry, whatever, because I feel like there's so much that needs to fucking happen this year. Like you said, there's still people that are locked up for weed while we're smoking weed freely. There's the fact that cannabis can be on the fucking public trade stock, whatever, but there's still people incarcerated. Like,
and then these poor guys that are incarcerated are probably sitting in lockup reading Politico stories about all the people that are trying to get them out fighting with each other. Like it's just
they're just like, yo, just stop and get me out, you know?
We just need to kick it forward. Teamwork makes the dream work. Get these homies out. Get these packs flying over mountain ranges and shit.
Flying.
It'd be beautiful. It's time. That's what's happening. That's what's coming. So everyone just chill, position yourself, support the cause. Like
stack up your money.
Yeah, donate. Like, yo, throw normal $10 a month. Throw MPP $10 a month. Throw these people that pay people a living wage to spend their time trying to create a better world for this industry and these people in it. Like, help them a little bit. Toss them a buck. You know what I'm saying? It's like I was on the board of directors for Students for Sensible Drug Policy from 2008 to 2010, and it's like that's people don't understand this. It sucks how much money makes the world move. But if you can pay a 22-year-old kid $40,000 to spend all of his time going around the country trying to change the world, you'd be surprised how much world changing you can get done if you get a few of those guys.
Exactly.
And it's awesome. And that's really like, and then you get, these lobby efforts on the Hill. Like it was like when I was at Drug Policy Alliance, I interned in the DC office. I was a media intern for their DC Maryland media project, and like my desk was like right across the street, the front office, like the foyer from DPA's lobby team. So it was like I'd come from this weed background, stuff like that, but like just to get into like the real hardcore fucking drug policy shit, when you start talking about like heroin maintenance treatment and needle exchanges and shit, and really doing some fucking crazy harm reductions, that's what I'm hoping, like just the more and more we normalize everything and like normalize the idea that the way drugs have been presented to us may have been discrediting and not an effective tool for society to handle these things in a healthy way. Like the more we're going to be able to push forward these harm reduction concepts, all this crazy stuff that's going to do the most good when we need the most good right now. Like people are dropping out there, like random people. We lose X number of vets every day.
Yep.
Like we lose another bunch of random people that like never, it's crazy. It's crazy. There's so much better we can do for what's happening with substance abuse in this country, and treating it like a public health, treating it like the public health issue that it is, and not the criminal justice issue that we try so desperately to claim for the last 30-40 years that it is. And it's just sad stuff.
It really is. And it's really unfortunate because a lot of people don't know where to start on how to get involved with helping with that, because drugs are illegal. They feel like there's too much taboo to it. And,
Amen.
And that's why with Oregon, like when they legalized everything, all drugs, they did it for research. It wasn't like, hey, it's a free for all, go sell your fucking drugs like everyone else.
It's a public health issue. It's
exactly.
Like if you've tried we've tried for 30 years to criminalize it. How'd that work out? Well, not well. No, and the body count now more than ever is showing it, like, especially we don't even have, like, it's going to take a couple of years to really understand the impact that the pandemic had on mortality rates in the United States in 2020.
Yeah.
Like we don't have the amount of data we need to wrap our heads around it, for sure. So it's like stuff like there's so much crazy stuff going on that's like sending people back to the needle or the bottle or whatever thing that they've had challenges with in life. Like, but and the thing that it sucks, because whatever battle they went through to fix themselves the first time, they're going to have to go through that battle again. And like, they just don't have, and we as a nation don't provide the infrastructure or the support these people with substance abuse issues need to like be the best, most contributing society. Like, what's the point of throwing somebody in a cage and saying they're never going to do something with their fucking life again? Like, it blows my mind.
Exactly.
And then we let them out, and we put them in, this circle of recidivism, like that the criminal justice system creates, and we with X numbers of bodies required by these private prisons, blah blah blah. And it's like this is all a direct result of the war on drugs. Like, yeah, there's been some violent crimes years, and 2020 is definitely gonna be a year with more violent crime than years before it. Like a lot of this prison industrial complex is running off the drug war. Like, so it's ridiculous.
And as soon as we end the war on drugs, there's going to be no more private prisons, and it'll take away the infrastructure that the government's been trying to build for the past 30 years. You know,
it's crazy just the way the criminal justice apparatus we have moved, as we moved from community policing, the Andy Grayson, oh God, I forget the name of the show, the whistling guy, you know what I mean, like those old screw it. Well, anyway, so like you got these old school cops like in these like little towns, like that was that old school community policing model. Policing has been tacticalized over the last 20 years. Post Desert Storm, it hit the gas again. Post the Hollywood shootout, when those dudes like, just the militarization of, like, there's a bunch of little things that like you point to when you talk about the militarization of police. One of the most major things to militarize the police over the last 30 years is the war on drugs. Anyone who says that, and anyone who says otherwise is crazy. It is the most common reason they're kicking doors in. It is one of the most common reasons they're pointing guns at people and babies and pets and all of the above. And it's just crazy stuff. And it's all just a direct result of not wanting to take a more medical, public health oriented approach to trying to find solutions to what's going on. And this weed conversation was just a smaller part of that for a lot of like activists. It was cool to see like those people who were focused on weed but were focused on everything kind of like move on, just like, all right, you guys got that under control, like we're gonna go try and do some fucking really crazy shit over here.
Yeah, it's like once you get comfortable with the weed, you just pass it on and on to the next, because it's literally it's stairs. We're working our way up just to try to fix this, because shit's fucked.
Because you gotta understand, these people that were doing it like pre-Sanjay, like these like real deal, like super hardcore cannabis like activists and policy people in DC, like there was like, it's everything is like all that late 2000s shit. These are savages. Like This is like, it sucked to be a weed activist like in the 2000s. In the Bush administration, you had the Bush administration for the first 8 years of it, and then you had Obama turn his back on the industry after he convinced us in New Hampshire. It's like, oh, it's going to be cool, guys. Tell that to Amsterdam. Tell that to BPG. Tell that to Harborside. Like, it's just, so it's cool to just like see everything settle down, and not to mention, I think 1,000 places in LA, Jesus. But like, it's just, crazy times. There's so much, so much big picture work to do. And it's cool to see that these little weed steps like are a part of a bigger giant spider web of it all,
No, I feel you on that. That's why we're in this, right? To have a voice and just to let people know what's up and help make a change. So That's dope. Is there anything you want to touch base on before we wrap up?
No, just raging. Keep an eye out. LA Weekly. Like, read my shit. Click like.
Oh, drop your socials so everyone knows where to find you.
Oh, for sure. Jimi Devine, Jimi. At Jimi Devine on Twitter. At the Jimi Devine on Instagram, and then Jimi Devine Writer on Facebook. And I'm gonna try and do more. I was trying to pop the guide off last year, but
I know I
pandemic,
saw that Devine Cannabis guide.
Pandemic put a little dent in the wind in our sales, but it's cool. Coming out hard once the world opens back up. I just didn't get to hit as many farms as I thought I was going to this year.
Yeah.
But we're very, very excited. A lot of potential there, and it's crazy. Trying to do better with the podcasting myself. I get a lot of people. I get a couple people a week now. It's crazy.
That's dope.
It's like, Jimmy, how come you don't do? Because I did 2 episodes. I do once a year, and then people all year. And now it's getting to the point where hey, is there going to be a new one?
Yeah, because I thought that you had a podcast, but I had only seen 1 or 2, and I was
I get lost, dog. I spend all my time trying to find stories and find that next heat or talking to people, and just chasing it down, and I get lost and
it happens. It's appreciated.
I forget to try and do my own. I forget to try and do my own shit sometimes, and it's just cool. It's cool though. I love it. Either way, it's just perpetual fun. Yeah. I just need to be better at the things with my name on them.
Right. Well, this will have your name on it. And again,
yeah, this went great.
This went fucking great. Thanks for taking the time to come on. And to everyone listening, make sure to follow Jimi on IG at Jimi Devine and check him out on LA Weekly. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk Terps with you soon. Awesome.
Yeah, rock on, everybody.
Yay. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate it. You're super fucking cool. I geeked the fuck out when you followed me back on IG, by the way.
So you're a champion. Thank you,
literally
man.
screenshotted it and sent it in my group chat. I'm like, I'm a bad bitch. Jimi Devine follows me. And my homegirls were like, chill. I'm like, nah, you don't know what this means for me. I'm going to get him to come on my show. You got back to me in 30 minutes. I was so high. I'm like, this isn't real.
It's just, I'm just trying to get out there. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you.
No, of course. I appreciate you. And I'm going to be up in the Bay, so I'll hit you up when I'm out there. And we can catch a session or something.
I'm raging. Shoot me a link when this drops, and I'll
I will. I'll send you all the information. It'll probably drop next week, and then I'll have a video ready for it by Tuesday.
Cool.
I work 3 jobs, so I'm a little.
No, I get it, dog. Trust me, I'm spinning plates over here myself. So
that's why I'm like, you never see me post on IG, but I'm there, But I'll make sure to email it over to you and send you all this stuff on Google.
Cool. Appreciate you, dog.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Let me know if you need anything else from me, okay?
Okay, I will. Thanks again. Bye.
You're listening to Hayes Radio Network, Cannabis Lifestyle Radio.